The Gridiron is sponsored by Rothman Orthopedic.
Welcome to this week's edition of The Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. In a game of role reversals from 2018 to 2019, started with the Central Bucks South Titans defeating your Springford Rams 34-24. Coach, like I said right there, it's kind of what happened last year. You know, you guys had a little bit, they had the hype, kind of preseason, rankings a little bit out there. This year, you guys in the top 20 in the area preseason, and they came down here and played a really good football game against you guys, too.
Yeah, it was a rough weekend, John.
Yeah.
Weekend. They had two players that just played off the charts, their quarterback and wide receiver, and really were the difference makers in the game. We, one of the things that's tough in this new environment in football, and you referenced it last week, is the one scrimmage and the new format. And this has been for a couple years, but when you have returning players or even players that have played as juniors, you can. There's two things that I think, and we talked about this with the whole team. One thing is we need our seniors to take the next step. We are a senior-based program. I think all the best programs are. And if, in other words, if there's two people that are equal at a position and one of them is a senior, we're going to play the senior. Now, a lot of places and other sports take a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, well, if two guys are equal, we're going to play the younger guy because he has another year.
Get some experience. Yeah.
That's not really good for your culture, in my opinion. That's not really good for your leadership. And so we've always, taken the approach that guys have put in their time. They're going to be the guys that help us win. We needed guys to take the next step. And seniors, there's always kids that surprise you, like we're not sure if he can, and all of a sudden, boom. I'll give you an example. Last year we had a few of those. Alex Korecki, last year at safety, he ended up being an all-league safety. And, at this point in the year last year, before the first game, I was like, I don't know. Like, I think maybe he'd be a better strong safety, or, maybe we should move him to outside linebacker, or maybe we'll just play him at wide receiver. All-league. We needed guys to step up. And I don't know that happened. It was more of a leveling off. So to this point, so we had that conversation. The other conversation we had is like when and guys haven't seen themselves on film, so they'll tell you, no, I did that, and you watch the film, no, you didn't do that. So we have our whole secondary and two of our linebackers are sophomores that started on Friday.
So they've gone from ninth grade football to now playing varsity under the lights.
And it's a completely different thing. You can get away with a lot of more mistakes in ninth grade football. It's not as complicated. People aren't doing as much in terms of motion, formations, etc. All those things. It's like any sport. So we just made a ton of mistakes. Defensively, especially at linebacker and in the secondary. We made some mistakes. Returning guys made some mistakes, in terms of letting the quarterback outside of them or things like that. I mean, the quarterback running the ball scrambling on third down and long about 3 or 4 times absolutely hurt us. Because, we got them in first and long, second and long, third and long, and they got out of it. That's emotionally, that's very uplifting to them, and very deflating to us. So, and then it's not only the defense. We got away with it on special teams, but made huge mistakes. The kids saw on film. We had some guys, again, younger guys, never played before, going the wrong way on special teams, and other guys executed perfectly. And there's a hole the size of, Rhode Island that they could run through, and it was, surefire touchdowns that we didn't get. And then, again, we got to take the blame all over. Offensively, we didn't take what was there some of the times. We were a little, in some ways, a little passive about some of the things. And we didn't. There were, at times we didn't block. We didn't block well on the offensive line overall. More important was assignment. I think if we made a couple more assignment improvements, again, we're right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
One
Yeah,
big thing. We were up. All right. We were up. I think at the time 24-20. Got the ball back, and we had called a hitch and go, and Dante Benani had set his corner up the whole game and just torched him, and we gave up a sack. And that to me, you could have thrown it, or I could have thrown it for a touchdown.
He was that open.
He was that open, and that would have made it 31-20 in the third quarter. And I think that we could have ridden that momentum to closing out the game. The other thing about that, too, do you know that in the third quarter our defense only allowed 9 yards? 9 yards in the third quarter. So
that's where you make your strides, right?
So, right. But offensively, we didn't follow up on that.
Right, yeah.
And so there,
blame
game
goes
one.
around, yeah.
And, we could make better decisions. I'm not saying coaching-wise.
Yeah.
We could make some better decisions, or maybe should have seen some things that could have been corrected. So
yeah, I was going back to the idea. It reminds me, last year, some early success was your defense was able to get off the field in third downs last year, and you got some turnovers. Well, this seems to be a couple years ago where you had trouble getting off the field in third down situations. Yeah. And 2 costly turnovers late in the game, too, kind of deflated any chance for you guys to come back in the game, too. It shows how much.
The one turnover, it's listed as a muff, but basically the punter shanked it, and it hit one of our kids. It's technically called a muff punt.
Yeah, right.
Kid gets a fumble on his resume,
yeah.
But it was a fluke. And, a couple of us, including myself, admitted when that happened in the fourth quarter, we had just stopped them. We had gotten
right. Then they go down
them.
and they get it.
And not only that, it was 3rd and 25. They got it down to 3rd and 6 with the 4th and 6 with the quarterback scrambling, but we still, they decided to punt. And then that happens. And in the back of your mind, as coaches, you say, "Oh man, this might not be our night," and you try to overcome that thought. And hope that we hold out, but we gave up another touchdown that was, the dagger.
Before we show some highlights here, we talked about, how the preseason was. Is there anything, after week 1, you as a head coach is saying, maybe I should try that? Is there something you're going back to the drawing board, I guess, saying here as you go in the week 2 about?
No, the only thing is, we talk to the kids and watch the film, and it's all coachable things, which is the good thing. We were defensively, we were physical. We missed some tackles. And some guys that shouldn't be missing tackles missed some tackles, and that hurt us. But for the most part, they're coachable things. No, your drop is here, not here. That's that 5-yard, 8-yard difference is huge. Getting under a comeback on the outside. Simple things like taking your eyes off your man and man coverage. Those things are correctable.
Okay.
But they really, really hurt us.
They hurt you that night.
Right.
And you read their thoughts after the game. They remembered what happened in 2018.
And we tried to warn our kids about that. I thought we didn't play very well in the first half overall, but we went in, we gave up the touchdown at the end of the half, which, we shouldn't have. But we still went in with a positive attitude. And as a coach, I was like, okay, now we'll settle down in the second half. Mm-hmm. Our offense's experience will be fine. Defensively, we'll settle down. We'll get some of those corrections made. The corrections were made at halftime, but they continued a little bit, and some of the mistakes continued. So sometimes when you just get out under the lights, to be quite honest, it was a little bigger for our guys than maybe we thought. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine going forward. I mean, we have a tough non-league schedule, which is as a coach is the scary thing. We can only afford so many blips, and we have a tough game this week, which we'll talk about later.
All right. Well, with all that being said, we do have some offensive highlights. Let's check out the offensive highlights from Springford CB South.
Offensive highlights are sponsored by Euro Motor Cars of Devon.
Okay, so this is our first touchdown of the year. This is Armonte Haynes. Now, again, this is one we didn't block this correctly, but we do get in the end zone. You see clearly we didn't block it correctly or effectively, and Armonte continues to work his way.
Yeah.
We should be double teaming that nose that breaks through there, and we didn't do it. And fortunately, Armonte was able to shake that guy a little bit and get in the end zone. So the one thing that we did well is we threw, and this isn't a throw. This is actually the first play of the game. Now I will say this: if our both wide receivers block, that's a touchdown, which is a huge thing. You see, we kick out and get the pull. We're running counter
Makes
tray
the guy
there.
miss.
We get our line does a great job, but we don't block down the field. One receiver does, one doesn't. This is a great catch here by Blaise Scarcelli, going over the top of the receiver there. This was on a 4th down play where we were in a position where we're a little out of field goal range. But look at the offensive line doing a great job there, which sets it all up. And
Looks like he comes off his initial read there too for Engray too.
He did. One thing we can go through the progression there, but here's a nice catch again by Dante Bonani. All right, this is our 3rd touchdown of the game. All right, you see him does a great job of staying in his route until the ball arrives, so that the defensive back who's playing man coverage can't do anything about it. And this is where Ryan did a great job on Friday night, is standing in the pocket and ripping balls down the seam. You see here, this one's to B.J.
Good
Beard.
protection.
Rips it right there in front of the safety behind the linebacker. And so that's the other part too. This isn't all doom and gloom. There's positives about it. It definitely hurts. We feel hats off to CB South, especially their quarterback and wide receiver. They're a very solid football team, well-coached team. We still felt like, we should have won that game, and we didn't. So now the tough part in football is you got to pick yourself up off the mat, and that's a wrestling reference.
Yeah.
But you got to pick yourself up off the mat, and move on, and it doesn't get any easier.
All right, Coach. Well, we're off and running here. Segment 1 in the books there. We'll come back and we'll do some defensive stuff, all right? We'll take a quick commercial break here, and we'll be back with the defensive highlights from Springford, CB South.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brennan, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, before we do defensive things here, we usually do some announcements here. What do you got for announcement-wise on Springford football right here?
The only real big thing on the horizon is a pig roast on September 14th. Again, we talked about it last week, but for $20, you cannot get a better deal.
Now,
it's
Coach,
like going to Old Country Buffet, but the quality of food is off the charts.
What time is afternoon, I'm going to guess, something like that?
Yeah. Anytime at the VFW, anytime after 4.
Okay,
There's
so
signs
4 to
around
what?
town.
What's the max time at night?
I guess usually probably 10, but people tend to hang out a little bit after that.
Because here's my dilemma. Our Springford Girls Golf Tournament is Saturday, September 14th.
Oh, that would be a great
at
opportunity
Linfield.
to go afterwards.
Yeah,
Tell Coach Talley. Coach Talley is a faithful watcher of the Gridiron, just like I watch the Cager show. What's it called?
You don't know? Courtside.
Courtside.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I do.
It's
watch
the
it.
highest. I think it's the highest rated. I don't know if it gets more ratings than this one. It's tough. You'll have to.
No, come on.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, Coach Talley, that'd be great. Come on over.
Well,
Mr.
remember, girls golf
McDaniel.
tournament, we don't start till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It could be a long day. So maybe afterwards.
That's fine. It's
you're
a
gonna
scramble, right?
No. This is not Mr. McDaniel's. This is our girls golf tournament. Where it's like an invitation of all the schools of District 1. I'm not involved with girls basketball. No.
Well, I thought
This
it
is
was
our
girls
girls
and boys basketball.
This is
and
our
that's
girls
the-
golf tournament.
Gotcha.
For our girls. So we'll see if I can make an appearance.
They don't
late
do
night.
a scramble.
They have some basketball fundraiser tournament. This is our.
I got you.
This is us for District 1. We're putting it on.
I
essentially.
see. I'm sorry.
So yeah, we'll see if I can make an appearance.
That'd be great.
And where can people get tickets too for that?
Any football family.
Any football family has tickets for the.
You bet.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Reach out.
All right. And any problems with the new website? Everything was up and running.
There's some. I like things to be in their place. So we're still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Problems-
springforwardfootball.net. Spring-forwardfootball.net.
No problems in the cloud or the servers.
Not with the cloud. But I like
Servers?
things to align perfectly, so I'm in there trying to. The other thing I will say and you alluded to this during the break, but we set 2 individual records on Friday night. Dante Benani had 11 receptions. That's a school record. And Ryan Angro tied the record for most completions in a game with 24. Now,
Really, only 24? I thought
Yeah.
I thought the number would have been higher. Okay, but go ahead.
24 completions. So the problem with that is he tied his record from last year's Downingtown East game, and you alluded to the fact that you threw a lot. Well, both those games were losses. You know, in the final probably 15 plays or so Friday night, we had to throw probably 13 of them. Because we're trying to
Get back,
score and get an onside kick, which we weren't able to do. But a lot of times that's in the NFL, that's a huge statistical anomaly too. They say, Kirk Cousins had this great year, blah, 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 blah. But they're throwing because they're behind.
Yeah, and they're throwing,
and they're also
2/3
not
of every
playing,
play too. Yeah.
And they're not playing, if you're ahead 2-3 scores, you're keeping everything in front of you, so your completion percentage goes up, blah, blah,
Okay.
blah. So we strive for balance.
Yeah.
There were a couple things we could have done on Friday night to be more balanced. We encouraged Ryan to, listen, if the defensive end crashes, we got to keep the ball, we got to run. We should have been more balanced just by the nature of what they did, and we'll get there.
All right. Now let's get to the defense here. And like you said, and we alluded to in like that preview show, there's a lot of new guys. And your one guy from the secondary that was returning was a no-go for you on Friday night too, which obviously didn't help the cause too.
Yeah, there's trickle-down effects. When you have guys, like, again, we try to keep guys 1.5, like start on one side, half the time on the other if we have to play them. Andrew also plays running back, so he's been playing free safety. So there's a trickle-down effect. So what that meant was now Armonte Haynes was really the only running back with experience. We have a couple sophomores, but they're not quite ready.
Ready for the lights, yeah.
And so that takes Armonte off defense. We played him like one or two series at the beginning, and then kind of felt like, hey, we got to keep him on one side.
Yeah.
Or we're going to go empty the whole time. And then same with defensively. And that moves Nick Teets over to free safety. Well, now he has to play less on offense, and it's just a trickle-down effect.
Once again here, I think the positive sign is you can get them on film and say, okay, here's what, right? Because it's not wholesale. It's not like we need to make massive, not like it's going massive changes here, but you guys say, hey, we got to, you got to make some strides from game one to game 2, right? And I'm sure
Absolutely.
that's the message, right?
Yeah, and we were on them about certain things in practice right from the jump yesterday. So, there's film is the best teacher, and because again, kids think they're doing the right thing. They're like, what do you mean? I did no here, watch, and you can get pretty technical with that stuff. So.
All right, Coach, good stuff right there. We got some defensive highlights from the game now?
Yeah, we still do.
All right, let's check out the defensive highlights from Spring Ford CB South.
Defensive highlights are sponsored by Meshock Physical Therapy.
Early in the game, sun's still out.
Yeah, sun's still out here. So, earlier in the game, listen, other than the quarterback, you hear what I'm saying? They struggled to run the ball on us.
And here you are getting some pressure off the edge.
But here we are getting some pressure. This is Blake Terizzi coming off the edge. Does a great job. Watch him how he, cuts underneath that the offensive tackle and gets to the quarterback. Like I said, early in the game they struggled to run the ball, and we thought, okay, that's a good sign here. And here's Blake again with the sack. Also, Donnie Nicolene, a sophomore, is also in on that as well. And so, we had the opportunity to stop them and their quarterback. Obviously, those wouldn't be highlights, but he got out of a lot of things. You see there, nice play by J. Seth Owens, who's a sophomore, playing linebacker for us. Did a nice job. There's some things that...
you even got the camera guy on the...
Yeah. There's a lot of things that, again, like I said, we need to do better, but the raw talent and ability is there. Here we go.
They're trying to run
This was a second and short maybe, or is it third and short? We got stops. We had stops. We had a number of 3 and outs. Right there is DJ Francis and Johnny Pergine, another sophomore linebacker that made the play there. I think this is the third and short play. So we got stops. There you get an
opportunity to get off the field, yeah.
But we just didn't get enough of them, and we had them in third and long situations, and that's the tough part.
All right, Coach. Well, we live and we learn, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on here.
You better.
Have to.
There's no choice.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break here, and we'll preview the game with Harry S. Truman after this break.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in. Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Rothman Orthopedics. I'm your host, John Brennan, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, here we got another Suburban One opponent here this week. Harry S. Truman, new to the Ram. Have we ever played Truman in the history of Rams
Good question.
football?
I didn't look that up.
Oh, wow. That's usually, you're right on top of those
sorry
type
about
of things.
that.
All right, so we're going to play Truman, and we're going down the turnpike.
My guess would be no.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I'm guess no, too. You're going to go down the turnpike Friday night for a game here.
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon we're going to play.
Well, no. I'm saying.
You're going down the turnpike Friday afternoon for the Friday night game. Another one, kind of weird dynamic. You're going to play 2 games here and no school either of the days too, right? Obviously we're back in session here, but no school on Friday.
Right. I tell you what, that in-service on Friday really kills us as coaches. We got to get it back to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, that's way out of my pay grade there, Coach Brubaker.
Can you work on that?
No, I just said it's out. You go be a mover and shaker in that situation.
That's tough because we have, I don't know if you're aware, but we have pictures. That's our picture day.
I saw you guys, yeah.
So we're there at like 6 in the morning with the kids getting pictures. And then, you have the in-service, and it's a scramble as opposed to in the past, it was a Friday. We had in-service Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we kind of eased our way into the day, couple last thoughts, whatever. It really scrambles the day.
You might get some comments on that right there. Be careful on the internet machine on your.
That's fine.
Okay, you're up.
I could defend that position.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just carry. We don't want to upset too
Listen,
many.
let's just go for it.
Okay.
We're
You're all
honest.
in at
We're
this
transparent on this show.
All right, yeah. Well, I'm being transparent. It's above my pay grade. I just show up when they tell me to show up.
I gotcha.
All right, so talk about Truman. How'd they do week 1 and what?
They won.
They won. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, last year they were 10-2. Now it's a new coaching staff, but they have talent. It's a little unnerving because it's a little bit of an unknown. We haven't played them in the past. It's a new coaching staff. There's a lot of variables.
All right. Well, with all that being said, let's take a look at Truman on offense.
Highlights are sponsored by Rental World of Limerick.
Who'd they play week 1?
You shouldn't have asked that because I forget. I was trying to come up with it. Oh, I know. Only Charter.
Oh, okay.
So here's a good job. Now this shows a well-coached football team. That previous play, like the receiver was uncovered in the formation.
Checks
so they
out
just
of it.
Just threw to him. You can tell they're well-coached there. They do a lot out of I formation, and they have some ability. They have 2 tight ends that are over 6'7". They have a tackle that's over 6'7".
They got
have
some
skill
size.
guys. Yeah. Run a lot of 2-back stuff.
Look at that left tackle. Look how big he is.
Yeah, he's pretty big. Again, throwing down the field inside the 5-yard line. I'm not afraid to wing it down the field. And also then they can hand off. They have a pair of running backs and a pair of fullbacks. And their quarterback can run. So there's a lot of different weapons that they have. You see the tight end and tackle there, both huge dudes. Watch when they come up out of their stance. And the running back, 21, is he plays defense as well. He plays linebacker. Really formidable athletes that they have.
Yeah, it looked like right there in film, like if I'm a defensive guy for you and we just kind of struggled, I'm like, oh, man, here's what I got to go up against here too. Like,
yeah, so it's another test. Like, our theory is we need to go out and play good opponents. You hope that you get some wins under your belt and continue to improve. Mm-hmm. So when you don't get that first one, that, again, we felt was a winnable football game. It was a great football game, but it was a winnable football game that we came out the wrong side.
Right.
Puts a little more pressure on us.
This one almost has to be.
When you're playing, well, I don't know if you can ever say it has to be, but, if it's right next to that, it's one that we really, really need desperately. So, and they're 1-0 and coming off a win, and we gotta play well. That's the key. The key is playing well and
give yourself a chance in the game.
Give yourself a chance, and that's the key.
All right, what are we going to see defensively from them?
They're a 4-3 team. They play cover 2, cover 3. Really let their athletes just play football, sit in their alignment, and play football and run, and they do that well. So,
all right, let's take a look at Truman on defense.
Highlights are sponsored by Rental World of Limerick.
All right, you see they're in cover 2 here with 2 high safeties and a pressed up corner. All right, they're, again, big up front. They do a nice job of playing the run. Here they're spread out a little bit. It's still a 4-3 look. They're trying to throw to the...
Trying to throw between the safety and linebacker there, right?
Right, and kid makes a play.
Here they are, the goal line.
Goal line, so, only drove the ball down a little bit, and they try to run the fullback, and it gets swallowed up big time at the goal line. Earlier in the game...
Yep, sun's out.
Sun's out.
Looks like they're blitzing, bringing extra.
Right. Right there, you see 21 run. It's just a little of his ability. Like, you see that on film, and that kid's a scholarship football player right now. But they can get after the quarterback too. Only had did a little scrambling. We're able to get out of the quarterback was able to get out of contain a couple times, but they bring a nice pass rush, especially early in the game.
All right, Coach. Well, wow. What a show here. Week 2 in the books right here.
Yeah, I got to go start working on this game.
All right, yeah. All right, well, good luck to you and the Crow.
All right, thank you.
Right. Make sure you tune in next week, and we'll recap the game with Harry S. Truman and preview Week 3 with Wilson. For the head coach, Chad Brubaker, I'm John Brennan. See you next time on The Gridiron.